Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday with us. Today, I am joined by quite a few of my colleagues who will later introduce themselves quickly. Again, as Matt had mentioned earlier, and you've heard from a few others, we continue to request that you utilize the Q&A function to ask questions, and we will have time to review them at the end. So should you have any questions, please do drop them in the Q&A. Moving to the next slide. Again, as you heard from Matt earlier today, our athletes unfortunately face significant health disparities and ultimately are dying 20 years prematurely. Improving the health and fitness of our athletes is a part of the Special Olympics mission. The work that we do together, hand in hand, is critical. Special Olympics Pennsylvania has developed a fitness strategy with the goal to ensure that athletes are healthier, athletes are more fit, and ultimately athletes are living longer lives. We again couldn't be more excited to be here with you today to share the details of the fitness strategy. But first, before we get into the details, I think it's important to understand why fitness is important and how to be fit. It is my pleasure now to introduce you to our first guest speaker, Wendy Fagan. Wendy has been teaching classes in adaptive physical activity at Slippery Rock University. I know many people refer to it as SRU. She's been there for over 15 years. She specializes in disability sport and has been working with Special Olympics for many years to provide coach training to SRU students through the disability sport class at both the graduate and undergraduate level. Wendy works with Special Olympics Pennsylvania Butler County, so there's a shout out to Butler County, to provide students with training opportunities in multiple sports. SRU has incorporated unified sports into their intramural programs. And in addition to her work at the university, she is also the director of a nonprofit called Envision Blind Sports. So I am going to pass it over to Wendy. Wendy, over to you.
Thank you, Chelsea. So I assume we're going to be going to the next slide. So my name is Wendy Fagan, and one of the things that we do at Slippery Rock University is we have a unified fitness program where we take our individuals who are on campus with intellectual disabilities or on the spectrum, as well as some in our communities, and we partner them with a university student. And the reason we do this is because Slippery Rock University really understands the importance of fitness. And one of the things that they asked me to speak about today was, why is fitness important? So when you really delve into adults with intellectual disability and we look at their rate of obesity, it is a lot to take in. So why we are worried about obesity in the general population, we have a lot of concerns because, as you can see on the slide, the rate is 38.3. Oops, there was an extra 0.3 there, of individuals who have a higher rate. And the prevalence of morbid obesity is even higher than that. And it's also a greater rate of concern with our athletes, women athletes with intellectual disabilities. So we know that fitness matters. Chelsea, yeah, there you go. So we have a couple ways that we are approaching fitness with our individuals with intellectual disability at the university. And obviously one of the first things we want to do is find out where they're at. And we have talked with Chelsea and Mike Bavino and a couple other people there about how do we assess that. We've come up with some different ideas. But one of the tests that we do at our university is just a run, walk type of thing to find out where are we at, what is their level. And then through the years, we found out, well, what works? And I think one of the things when we think about Special Olympics practices is a lot of times we don't build fitness into our practice. We think just sports specific. And sometimes when we do something sports specific, like for instance, bocce, we don't think about fitness or cardiovascular fitness or muscular fitness. And I'd love to see that we start building into every single Special Olympic practice a way to increase the fitness levels of all the athletes. And one of the ways is to start small. We can't conquer the world the first practice. And another way is to vary the activities. But the most important way is find out what your athletes love. Find out what they love to do. Perhaps they do love to walk. A lot of our athletes do. Perhaps they like to run. Maybe you also have to think about the area that you're working with. What is available? What can you do? Music is a great motivator, as well as motivating them with having leadership opportunities. So even starting a practice, and I'm not picking on the bocce of the world, but for instance, when we think about bocce, we might not think about, well, what if we spent 20 minutes at the beginning of every practice? We put on some really fun music. There's great portable speakers. You can plop them in there. First, find out what music they love, and then find out what movement they love. And a lot of times we could let each of those athletes have like a 60-second where they lead the activity, where they get excited because one, they're being the leader, and two, they are moving. And I think that there just has to be so much more movement built into our program and getting them excited about being fit. The other thing that I really want to do, or I would really encourage you guys to do, is develop challenges. One of those challenges that we use with our athletes is we may see them twice a week, say Tuesday, Thursday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and we have them develop charts so that they can tell us what they do when they're not with us. And a lot of times their workout partners will follow up with them. They'll bring their sheets back. So what challenge can they do for the week? And then giving them some type of motivator, whether it's an extra visit with their workout partner or some type of something where they know if they can incorporate some type of healthy movement into their daily activity 4 to 5 times a week. It's got to be something that they embrace. It's not something they do just because of a sport, but it's something they do because we understand the power and the importance of being fit. Another thing is a lot of positive and a lot of multiple celebration of small accomplishments. If they're currently walking a half mile and they can do a half mile in 15 minutes and they get down to 12, what can we do to celebrate all of those small accomplishments of taking a minute off or 2 minutes off and getting to move a little bit faster? Also working with the athlete to set some short-term goals and what they would like to see happen. And I can't stress enough on finding on what excites the athlete and not so much what excites the coach, but what would the athlete buy in? And sometimes that means that maybe the first 20-minute practice doesn't look exactly like the sport that we're going to be doing for the next hour and 40 minutes, but just a way of saying like, look, you being in shape matters. And I know with some of our athletes and a lot of the athletes that we work with at the university is talking about the benefits, but not losing them by lecturing, and maybe picking one benefit a week to talk about with the athletes that might excite them or just get them educated, and then review that the next time they're together. So I know that I'm supposed to be good on my time, so I think that's it for me.
Thank you very much, Wendy. We so appreciate you being here and the opportunity to learn from your expertise. In addition to Wendy, I knew it would be important for us to hear from one of our athletes. I'd like to introduce our second guest speaker, who is Brittany Thayer. She is an athlete representative, global messenger, and health and fitness coordinator from Bethlehem City, and has been participating with Special Olympics for over 20 years. Brittany is a 2-time graduate of Athlete Leadership University and Health and Communications. So Britt, I'm gonna pass it to you.
Thanks. My sister Kayla was my biggest motivation to get fit and in shape. A few years ago, I went to go live with her at State College. I had been eating unhealthy foods and really overeaten. She taught me the importance of nutrition that helped me eat healthier and watch my portion sizes. My sister also trained me in long distance running. At the start of my train, I couldn't even run a mile. And by the end of it, I was able to run 3 miles within 1 hour. I didn't think I could run 3 miles when I started, so that made me feel really good about my accomplishment. When I moved back in with my parents, I set a goal to continue my fitness and healthy eating. I'd say that I'm the most active one in the family to stay fit. I have a high energetic figure named Buddy. We take multiple walks a day, and sometimes we go on super long walks that are about 3 hours long. And sometimes we do a lot of running when he spies a bunny and wants to chase it. I try to do different exercises every day, or at least every other day, especially strength and cardio workouts. I like to mix it up as much as I can so I don't get bored. I like to learn sounds and exercises like burpees or jump crunches. And I've learned new routines from workout DVDs and on YouTube. My parents support my fitness goals, but they do their own thing to stay fit and active. They do housework, yard work, and they also run around the house playing with Buddy, trying to get his bone. This is exercise for everyone. Everyone loses motivation to work out and do exercise from time to time. We all come up with excuses and reasons like the weather. It's too hot. It's too cold. It's raining. Oh, I've had a long day. It's been too long to exercise. I don't have exercise equipment. Or I don't have a gym membership, etc. I myself have made some of those excuses, but now I know I need exercise to stay safe and to feel good. I know I need to work out even when I'm tired, but then I find myself having more energy after I exercise. I reached out within my Special Olympics program to motivate others outside my family to get moving, get fit, and stay active. I care about others and I want them to know how much better they will feel after they stay active. I've done this by getting trained as a health and fitness coordinator a few years ago. I've gone to state games and the happy athlete venues to speak to everyone who listens, but tell them the benefits of staying active. Within my program, I've had rockstar events to motivate others to get moving and get fit so you won't stay still for too long. During the COVID pandemic, I tried to keep in touch with my super family, my fellow athletes, as well as my actual family, so we could stay as active as possible. With my fellow teammates, we've had plenty of opportunities to stay active with virtual challenges and virtual training. I've done them all. Now I've encouraged others to join me as well. Thank you, Chelsea, for having me here to give this motivational speech, and thanks for everyone here today listening to me. I look forward to my continued participation, as well as my peers, for the year-round surplus fitness opportunities.
Thank you so much, Britt. Appreciate you being here. And like many others have said in the chat, you truly are an inspiration. So thank you. Pulling back up the slides. Now that we've discussed why fitness is important and of course how to be fit, it's time to share with you all the Special Olympics fitness strategy. The fitness strategy will present first on its plans for state level activation and then regional or local program activation. Again, you can see the headers on the slide will call out, again, if it's state level or regional local level activation. So to get us started, as far as state level, Special Olympics Pennsylvania, what we're committing to. Special Olympics Pennsylvania has a code of conduct. Hopefully many of you are familiar with the code of conduct. The code of conduct is to help everyone of all ability levels understand how to appropriately conduct themselves and make Special Olympics Pennsylvania a safe and fun organization. SOPA has decided that we need to add more of a focus on fitness to our existing code of conduct. We anticipate being able to share an updated code of conduct early 2022. That's one thing. Another thing is Special Olympics has an online talk show called SOPA Tonight. SOPA Tonight focuses on the components of Special Olympics using storytelling. It is typically hosted by athletes. The talk show includes interviews, trivia, games, athlete talent, sponsor involvement, and so much more. SOPA is committed to inviting fitness professionals to speak at or share fitness content during SOPA Tonight. We anticipate being able to feature a fitness professional on the next episode of SOPA Tonight. which would be September, and then regularly thereafter. So again, tune into the upcoming episode of SOPA Tonight, which will air in September. Special Olympics Pennsylvania has games organizing committees. These games organizing committees typically work alongside our Special Olympics Pennsylvania staff to plan and implement sectional and state games. SOPA is going to ensure each games organizing committee has committee members who are responsible for planning healthy menus or meals that we are offering. In addition, they're going to make sure that we're either offering healthy athletes, healthy habits, and or performance stations. I know performance stations, you're thinking to yourself, what the heck is that? We have not yet told you about performance stations, but we're going to talk more about that in a bit. But by doing this, we are ensuring that health is a part of our sectional and state competitions. We anticipate that these games organizing committee additions will be complete by the 2022 Indoor Winter Games. Next on this slide, Special Olympics Pennsylvania would like to develop a fitness advisory committee. Now, again, this fitness advisory committee would be of professionals in the field. So again, they're going to be some sort of professional, whether they're in the health field or the fitness field. It's going to be led by SOPA staff members, as well as potentially a SOPA board member. We'd like the Health and Fitness Advisory Committee to be responsible for a lot of different things. Specifics to include, but definitely not limited to, helping us to collect content, creating opportunities for speakers at special forums. What type of sponsorship opportunities are there out there? What type of promotion and outreach can we be doing? We still really need to think through and discuss more about the purpose, who's going to be a part of this advisory committee, and what are the processes of this advisory committee. We do believe, though, that we'll be able to discuss and determine all of these things, personnel, process, and purpose by early 2022, meaning that we potentially have a health and fitness advisory committee of professionals from the field meeting as early as the third quarter of 2022. To continue talking about state level activation, I'm going to now hand it over to my colleague, Mike Bavino.
Thanks, Chelsea. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm going to talk a little bit about our focus on families, because we know that families are so important in terms of supporting our athletes in a variety of different ways. And we have a strategy in place that is going to look to get really important insight and input from family members throughout the state. We're going to be creating a health and fitness family advisory group, and that will include parents and siblings from all 9 regions. This group will meet starting in late September, and they'll meet once a month. So important to get feedback from family members so we have a better understanding about how do we best involve and engage families in supporting athletes in their fitness goals. And we also need to find out how can Special Olympics Pennsylvania provide the necessary resources and help to really give families what they need in order to be successful. So when we talk about families, we talk about moms and dads and siblings and cousins and extended families. Everybody can be a part of this. I mean, our goal is to try to get everybody fit and healthy. And when you have a workout partner who's devoted to you and your fitness goals, you're far more likely to be motivated to complete your goals. So again, we really want to learn from family members, how to best communicate, how to message, what's going to be successful from parents to other parents to talk about this, and siblings to other siblings. And a lot of great opportunities for us to be looking at in terms of fitness oriented programs. Everything like the Sona Move Challenge, which is the amount of minutes that you work out every day, and athletes set goals for that, to the Sona Stride Challenge, which was really a distance challenge, how far you could walk or run during a designated, 10-week time period. The fitness heptathlon. Of course, we're going to be talking a little bit more, Michelle will be about athlete performance training and some things that athletes can do at home to support their training. So a variety of different initiatives that family members can be involved in as either training partners, unified partners, coaches, or just simply supporters. Next slide, please. So another area that we're really looking to grow is to give our athletes even greater opportunities to participate in the law enforcement torch run and various types of special events throughout the state. And again, there'd be nothing more than our law enforcement partners would love more than having athletes and more of them run alongside them on their various legs of the torch run. So we want to get our athletes fit enough to be able to run segments of the legs, be with our law enforcement officers to be able to be a part of that. And again, there's opportunities for athletes to train and get prepared to be able to participate in those types of opportunities. In addition to the law enforcement torch run, however, we're also looking at creating opportunities for athletes to participate in other type of fitness events. One that people out west are familiar with, the Uncathlon, is a great way for our athletes to get involved in fitness-oriented activities, and it's a fundraiser, and there'll be uncathlons that will be developed throughout the rest of the state, so that's an opportunity. But we're also looking at building with our various corporate partners some different programming activities that would match their employees with Special Olympics athletes, and together, virtually or perhaps in person, they would participate in some type of fitness challenges. So again, the more people that we're connecting together on this common goal of fitness, the better results and outcomes that we'll achieve. So with that, I will pass the Flame of Hope torch to Michelle Boone.
Awesome, thanks, Mike. And as you'll see, as I start to talk through, like a lot of what I'll cover is the how. So it goes hand in hand with a lot of the things that everyone has already talked about. So, and again, with the ultimate goal, which we'll always come back to, of helping our athletes to become healthier, more fit, and live longer lives. So we're going to start with just a quick snapshot of athlete performance training. It's our overall goal that this becomes a new way of running a practice or a training. And you heard me say this earlier, but I'll say it again. Our overall activation goal by the end of this strategic plan, which is 2024, is to have at least 75% of our athletes and training sites participating in practices that incorporate athlete performance training. Our activation goal for this fall, so 2021 fall season, is that we have at least one training site from every local program that's sponsoring fall sports participating. So for all of the local programs on the call today, if you're not sure if someone from your program is doing this yet, if it's something you're interested in doing, I'll talk a little bit in kind of how to let us know that and how to register. But we would love to have everybody involved. And so what this really is it's a program that's implemented by our coaches during practice and then by families, friends, caregivers when at home. In order for people to make progress, in order for athletes to make progress, it's just extremely important that this is becoming a new lifestyle, kind of just a new way of operation. And most of that work needs to happen at home because we only see our athletes at practices once, maybe twice a week. So it'll really be the coach's job during a practice to be providing athletes with the tools, instruction, and encouragement needed to be successful. And this will happen in 3 steps. If you can just go to the next slide. It's education, exertion, and evaluation. So the education piece is time taken during each sports practice to discuss physical activity, nutrition, and hydration as a team. For those of you who are familiar with Fit5, we've really used this as the foundation and then built upon the exercise physical activity focus. Similar to Fit5, athletes will be expected to track their progress in each of these areas. The exertion piece is extremely important that athletes are pushing themselves, both during practice and at home training. This will need to be something that is taught, led, and reinforced by our coaches. We like to refer to a practice as an active practice, and you kind of heard Wendy refer to that earlier, meaning that everyone should always be moving and that practices are incorporating elements of endurance, strength, agility, flexibility, in addition to those sport-specific skills. We don't want there to be lines and waiting, but rather just activities that are keeping everyone involved and everyone moving at all times. You want to use some music to help do that, then that's great. We've put together some sport-specific resources that will be provided to our coaches to help them plan and set up these active practices for that can meet the skill level of their athletes. And then the last piece of the puzzle here is evaluation. So to understand our athletes' health and fitness levels, we'll track metrics during the duration of the training season. So these will include height, weight, blood pressure, and fitness levels, which we'll measure through the modified Cooper's test. These metrics will be collected at the start and then the end of the season. We'll use these metrics to gauge health levels of our athletes. The data will be assessed, so coaches kind of turn it into us, via a Google form. We'll assess those things, and we'll get the coaches back some information that they can really help work with an athlete on an individual basis to set goals and improve their overall fitness. So as I mentioned, if you're interested in participating, which we would love for everyone to jump on board and participate in this, you can register by clicking yes on your site registration form. So it's one of the questions as a part of those site registration forms. These forms are completed by the training site COVID-19 coordinator. So if you're not the person filling that role, if you can just let them know that you're interested. And then we have a lot of programs that have already completed their site registration forms in the fall, and maybe you didn't know what this was. So we're going to be sending a follow-up email in the coming weeks to all of those COVID-19 coordinators. Again, just asking if it's something your site would be willing to do. You can go into the next one. And you heard, so you want to go over to that, thanks. You heard Wendy talk a little bit about this. And again, she was a key role in really developing this and getting it off the ground. But so our overall goal for the Unified Fitness Program, again, remains the same, healthier, more fit, living longer lives. But the Unified Fitness also adds the element of relationship development. It's meant to be conducted as a unified activity. That can be with a family member, a friend, a neighbor, a teammate, really anyone who's committed to working out twice a week and pushing themselves and their partner. You heard Wendy talk about that this program has been run by Slippery Rock University students with Butler County athletes for about 3 years now. We've worked with Wendy and her colleagues from the university to develop and then really refine this program. In addition to physical fitness, it also includes some of those educational components, nutrition, hydration, and wellness. Our intent for implementation is really as a supplement to an athlete's training or as a fitness program in the off season to keep you moving and to keep you active. Beginning with this fall, we're going to share the program with the teachers and students in our Unified Champion schools. And from there, we'll look to do a rollout more broadly beginning in 2022. The resource guides that we've put together are step-by-step. It makes it really easy for a unified pair to implement the program on their own. This program is not meant to be conducted with oversight from a coach. So, you really just need 2 people to get together and say, yep, we're going to commit to do this, pick up the resource, and you can go. The guides will be available electronically and in print. Unified, so you can see there's kind of 2 programs, Unified Fitness and then Unified Fitness with equipment. So Unified Fitness does not require any equipment and can be conducted anywhere. And then Unified Fitness with equipment, those pairs will need access to a fitness center or a weight room, as it's built around kind of those types of activities. You can go to the next slide. Just talk a little bit about our Sona Moves Challenge. So Sona has slightly changed the offering. Some of you may remember Strides that we did last fall, and there will potentially, most likely, be a different program that's coming this winter, spring as a lead up to 2022 USA Games. But they do intend to keep a nationwide challenge going into the future. The concept for Moves is really simple. It's an 8-week movement challenge. Each week, participants are asked to track and submit the number of minutes of exercise or intentional movement that you've completed. This challenge includes unified participation. So if we have, any athletes that would like unified partners or any coaches, volunteers on the call today who would like to get involved, just let us know. You can contact me or Chelsea or really anyone on staff, and we'll help try to make those connections for you. And it's really just a great way to, you encourage each other. It all can be done virtually. So just to encourage each other and help each other stay fit. SOPA has had the highest participation numbers of all the states in the past. So we want you to help us to continue to achieve that goal. And my last one here. So as many of you know, Fitness Heptathlon, which is a coach-led fitness training and competition program, was really successful for us over this past year. We are considering making this a permanent offering, but first just need to work with Special Olympics North America to develop a better scoring management system. We currently have 2 staff members that are sitting on a national committee to review and help further develop this program. So I will just say stay tuned for what opportunities there may be to come in the future. And I will pass it back over to Chelsea.
Thanks, Michelle. Going to the next slide, continuing with region / local level activation, want to talk to you about a health and fitness coordinator. I know we have a lot of athletes on the line, so let me explain for those who are unfamiliar. An athlete can be a health and fitness coordinator. This person is somebody that is really committed to promoting a healthier lifestyle for not just themselves, but their peers, for unified partners in the community, for coaches, as well as families. A health and fitness coordinator is typically trained through Athlete Leadership University. And after Athlete Leadership University, the health and fitness coordinator, with of course support from their mentor, are expected to host a year-round health and fitness club. We've had this health and fitness coordinator position in place since 2016. But after each year in which we've hosted Athlete Leadership University, we've been slightly disappointed in the lack of local activation. After talking with trained health and fitness coordinators, as well as their mentors, we realized that they were being asked to do too much, such as volunteering with healthy athletes, volunteering with healthy habits, etc. And these health and fitness coordinators, as well as their mentors, couldn't focus on the one thing that was going to really have an impact locally, which was hosting that year-round health and fitness club. So we've modified the Athlete Leadership University curriculum to streamline the expectations of health and fitness coordinators, as well as provided them with better resources to offer a year-round health and fitness club. We're going to use this new curriculum starting next month. We are hosting an Athlete Leadership University session for health and fitness coordinators, and we're confident that this is going to make a difference. So if you're already a trained health and fitness coordinator, stay tuned. My colleague Jordan Schubert, who I think many of you know well, will be in touch. Moving on to the next slide, again, continuing with regional local level activation. Special Olympics International has an app called SO Fit Now. It is ultimately what it sounds like. It's an app to help participants stay fit. It can be accessed via a smartphone, but it can also be accessed via a computer. SOPA, of course, wants athletes, volunteers, as well as families to use the app SO Fit Now every day to record their exercise, to record their their fruits, their vegetable, and water intake daily. We had piloted the app and it was very well received by over 100 athletes in Pennsylvania, as well as volunteers and families. Special Olympics Pennsylvania is currently working with Special Olympics International to further develop the app's functionalities. And again, I'll just kind of call out a few things we'd like to see the app do. We want to know how the app is able to connect to other programs that we offer, like the Sona Move Challenge. We want to know how to keep SO Fit Now participants engaged in utilizing the app so they don't get bored. They don't stop using the app in general, or they don't stop using the app and use another application. And two, and I guess this is the last thing, is we want to know how to collect those health and fitness metrics like height, weight, and blood pressure and BMI, and how to evaluate the information to tell users if they've been successful with tracking the information. And two, making lifestyle changes, of course. We are slowly but surely adding users as they request access. Once we further develop the app's functionalities, alongside Special Olympics, we have a strategic goal to roll out the app statewide, making it available to as many athletes and coaches as able to. Again, if you're interested in utilizing the app currently, you are more than welcome to speak with your program manager, and there is a way to sign up. But if you can't figure out where the sign up is, just my email address is on the last slide, and we'd be happy to get you access to the application. It is free, and again, can be accessed via a smartphone and or a computer. Next, I had mentioned performance stations. So performance stations are going to be on site at venues throughout competitions, starting with Fall Festival 2021. So when I say at sports venues throughout competitions, what that means is pretend we are at the sport of bocce. There is going to be tables which will be at the venue. It's not going to be outside in the hallway. They're going to be near the playing field. Performance stations are going to focus on educating and promoting the importance of fitness, but not just to our athletes. It's going to promote fitness to our volunteers as well as our families. We already know the important role that these two people, volunteers and families, play in making a difference. So some of the topics that you will see at performance stations, again, starting with Fall Festival 2021, will be competition readiness, such as stretching, encouraging hydration and proper nutrition prior to and after events. And what are good motivation techniques like goal setting? We have a strategic goal to offer healthy habits. Again, healthy habits are the education stations, and performance stations are going to be the fitness education. So healthy habits is health education, and performance stations are fitness education stations. Again, our goal is to either offer healthy habits and or performance stations at 35 competitions a year by 2024. So you are definitely going to see more health and fitness opportunities at our venues throughout competitions, starting with Fall Festival 2021. I'm now going to pass it over to my colleague, Charla.
Hi, everyone. Thanks, Chelsea. For those who don't know me, my name is Charla Stein, and I'm the new Healthy Communities Coordinator here at SOPA. My role at SOPA is to help plan and organize our many health-related programs. And I'm also a registered dietitian, so I'm very excited to be here today to discuss our healthy food and menu offerings. So you can see here with our new fitness strategy, we want to start offering healthy food at all events and organization-wide. Together, we will be offering a healthy balanced plate, and you may be wondering what this looks like. So if you notice the plate in the top right corner there, that is similar to what we are discussing today. So we want to offer things like fruits and vegetables at every meal. You can see on the plate, we want to encourage half the plate to be full of fruits and vegetables. Both groups, fruits and vegetables, contain many vitamins and minerals without adding additional calories. So examples to offer at an event would be something like salads, veggies with dip, grilled or roasted vegetables, fruit salad, or even simple options like apple slices, watermelon, and bananas. We also want to start offering whole grains. Grain foods are able to provide our body with energy, but whole grains are healthier than a white or processed grain because they provide more nutrients and fiber. And if you're not knowledgeable on fiber, it is a heart-healthy nutrient that keeps us feeling full and satisfied. So examples of ways to include whole grains at meals would be whole wheat bread or rolls versus white bread or white rolls, a whole grain wrap, whole wheat or whole grain pasta versus regular pasta, brown rice, or things like oatmeal and whole grain cereals. We also want to make sure we're including protein at each meal, but we want to focus on lean proteins. Proteins help build muscle and helps our bodies to rebuild and recover after workouts. It also helps us feel satisfied after meals. So we just want to be sure, because proteins from animal proteins contain saturated fats, those are the fats that increase your risk for heart disease. So we want to make sure that we're providing lean or low-fat protein sources that would eliminate that saturated fat in our diet. So examples of a lean protein would be something like grilled or baked chicken breast. If you're going to have a deli meat sandwich, it would be like a turkey or a chicken. Foods like meatballs, but made with something like a lean ground turkey, fish, or even a vegetarian option like beans, tofu, nuts, and seeds. And if you're serving and including dairy at a meal, you want to offer low-fat and non-fat dairy foods. Dairy provides additional protein and calcium for healthy bones. However, fats in dairy foods, just like our protein foods, can have saturated fat. So something that we should also note about dairy is it may not be included at every meal, and that's okay. The goal is to provide and encourage the appropriate 2 to 3 servings of dairy a day. But when we do offer dairy, we want to make sure it's low-fat or non-fat yogurts, low-fat or skim milk, and low-fat cheeses. And we also want to consider providing a dairy alternative like soy, almond, or even coconut milk. And then of course, we want to talk about beverages. And we all know that water should be our go-to healthy beverage. But don't forget, you can add flavor and variety to water by adding fruits like lemon or orange slices. So you can offer these along with water as a way to encourage drinking and make it fun. And you can also consider offering things like sugar-free, already flavored waters or sugar-free seltzer waters. So following these recommendations, we provided you with some sample menus for a lunch or a dinner that you could offer at your event. And you can see each meal includes the recommended food groups. So something for lunch could be as easy as a turkey and cheese sandwich on whole grain bread with baby carrots and like a hummus to dip, apple slices, and of course, water. And then a dinner could be something as simple as grilled or baked chicken with roasted vegetables, a whole grain or seasoned brown rice. And we can still even offer dessert by considering a healthy choice, like something like a fruit salad or berries with whipped cream, and then of course, water to drink. And we know that snacks are always provided at many events as well. So we wanna focus on choosing those healthy snacks. Something you may normally provide before would have been something like potato chips. You can now offer something like popcorn or a baked chip. If you maybe previously provided more things like cookies or baked goods, you can consider doing like a whole grain granola bar. And then fruit is always a great choice for snacks. It's always something that you can offer when you're looking for something sweet and refreshing. And we also understand that many events you might be serving more like a fast food, something that's provided by a restaurant or outside vendor. And in those situations, you just want to consider how you can add healthier options to those meals to help balance out the fast foods that you're offering. For example, if you're going to order pizza, consider ordering plain or a vegetable top pizza rather than a pepperoni or a sausage topping, and serve the pizza with fruit or salad. And if you're serving hamburgers or hot dogs, having a barbecue, then you want to offer like a whole grain bun for the hamburger and a hot dog. And again, offer healthy sides like salad or pasta salads with vegetables. If you're going to have sandwich trays provided, consider asking the vendor to use like a whole grain roll or a wrap, and leave condiments like mayonnaise on the side that would add extra fats. And then always offer water and healthy beverage choices. So it can also be helpful for athletes, families, and all of those attending to have a visual of your meal to give an example of appropriate portion sizing. So you can see here that sample dinner that we talked about. We made a sample picture of what a plate should look like, with half the plate of vegetables, our fruit on the side, and the appropriate size for the grains and the protein. So I am sure you are all wondering at this point how you're going to make these changes. So I'm going to turn it over to Gina to discuss budgets and things like that.
Thanks, Charla. Well, this is not an in-depth budget session, but certainly we want to be encouraging our programs to be supporting our athletes in working towards goals of making healthier choices. But to do that, we need to make sure that we are planning and preparing, because there is a cost associated with making healthier choices as well. So in order to provide those healthier options, we need to plan accordingly in your budgets. The first step that I would suggest is sitting down with your team to identify the different areas where you would be offering food. That might be team picnics, that might be if you're traveling to Fall Fest or to Winter Games and you've got snacks that you bring on the bus, it's rethinking some of those things. It might be end of the season parties or banquets. So really sitting down with your team, and as Dan and Dennis mentioned earlier, it is the perfect time to be starting to think about these things as we prepare our budgets for 2022. Once you identify the different events that you think may provide opportunities for this, you need to go back and think about the different foods that you'd like to offer. And I would encourage you to go back to the handout that Charlotte just shared. Think about the healthier choices. Think about the different snack choices, baked versus fried, making sure that you're including fruits and vegetables. Once you've determined what your foods that you're going to substitute are, you also need to consider how many people are traveling for those things. Making sure that you are accounting for all of those items. You're going to need to then price out the food and the beverage items and add those costs into your budget. Without question, it takes a little bit of work. It will require you to plan ahead, but the benefit is that you're improving the health of your athletes, and that is definitely worth the extra effort. And we certainly are encouraging all of our programs to think a little bit differently as it relates to how they can individually improve the health and wellness of our athletes. With that, I'm going to pass it on to Tim Carryhard to talk a little bit more about how you potentially can engage some community partners to help in that process.
Thanks, Gina. So I'd like to just reference a couple of things that people have said as I launch into this, just a couple minutes here. The first was what Wendy, a number of people, Wendy and Charlotte just said. This is about small changes, right? Variety of approaches and making those small changes over time. And it kind of applies in the same way to this. You know, so, and I also want to reference, you know, the slide that Matt showed at the beginning, or somebody showed, I don't remember exactly where I saw it, but the 22520. But the reality is that, you know, you folks are probably already doing this every day, is out soliciting, you know, food for your events and your competitions. And the reality is that, you know, food is probably one of the most practical things that we can ask for, and very specific. And so what I've put on the slide here is to just what Gina just said, start with your menus, build out your menus, build out your budget, talk about, you know, what it is that you want to include, price those things out, okay? From there, we can develop a customized case for support, and I'm going to flip to that in a minute. And then you go out and you visit your stores, your retailers and your wholesalers. But the reality is that we've got a great case for support here in healthy athletes and healthy everybody, right? And everybody understands and can get on board. So go ahead to the next slide if you don't mind. This slide right here, again, the 22520. There's nothing more meaningful to someone than this. And as you go to your current suppliers, I'll call them, who's providing food, and maybe you're buying it from them today, and you present to them how important this is to our work, to our athletes and their athletes in their community, right? That they can be a part of something that's really important and something that can really impact people's lives. For years to come, their lives, right? Their lifestyle and a longer life expectancy. So next slide, last slide here. Again, so back to kind of how to approach people, help them understand the big picture. Go back to the 22520, offer a solution, right? Which is just a part of a solution. So we're talking about, we went from talking about fitness and activity, right? Which is part of it, move more, eat better. So now we're at the eat better side. So offer part of the solution, which is this, and we want to provide our athletes with healthier options. Be specific about what you're looking for. Again, back to your menus. People will respond when you ask for specific things. People have something easier to respond to. Again, clarify exactly what it is. As I said, in kind is often easier for folks to supply us, and instead of asking for money, oftentimes it's a lot easier for people to give us, you know, products. So be specific about that, but don't be afraid to go and ask people for money for this as well, because it's really important. And again, last point here is just healthier options are the goal. So as you begin to bring partners into this effort, you know, maybe they're just the water supplier or whatever. And so you could build a team of partners in your community that can help support this either financially or in kind, that then become part of a community that's caring about health, caring specifically about the health of our athletes, and making a difference to your local program to find those resources. I would offer myself to you, again, if you feel really good about this and you have something that you're ready to activate on, then please reach out. Happy to help you build a one-page case for support. That's important. Again, keep it short, keep it sweet, keep it to the point. Happy to work with you on that. Happy to help you incorporate kind of your budget into it, what you're looking for, all those things. And I definitely think not only locally, but even statewide, I think there's a great opportunity for our organization to garner so many more resources for this effort overall, both on the fitness and on the healthy diet and eating side. So that's it for me. I am supposed to now turn to question and answer. So I think, right?
Yeah,
we still have time for that?
Yeah, thanks, Tim. So I think I just wanted to first, there were some things in the chat box going back and forth about SONA Move. So I did drop the link to our website where some of that information lives, as well as the SONA registration form into the chat box. So if anyone is interested in signing up, you can use those links to do so. We have answered most of the questions, really all of the questions that have come in, and I don't think there's really anything that needed to be broadly shared with the group. So if anyone has any additional questions, you can please feel free to drop them in to the Q&A box. And, you know, we will work to either provide answers now or get you answers as a follow-up to these presentations. Don't see too much more coming in. So just thanks to everybody for hearing a little bit more about our fitness strategies today. And I'm going to pass it back over to our president and CEO, Matt Aaron.
Thanks, Michelle. Well, we're at the end of this year's leadership conference. Tim, I think you said it very well to succinctly sum up what we're trying to do with our fitness strategy, and that's move more and eat better. So thank you to the whole team that just presented. This is going to be a really important part of what we're doing moving forward. I'm thrilled that Special Olympics Pennsylvania is already taking a national leadership role with this work. You heard the team talk about the Stride Challenge and the Move Challenge, and also the Fitness Heptathlon. All of those programs were developed last year during the pandemic, and we had SOPA staff who were part of a national team that developed all of those. And in addition, Pennsylvania led the way on all of those in participation. So for example, with the Stride Challenge, we had more than 25% of the participants for all of North America. And for the Move Challenge, we had not only the largest number of participants out of all 80 programs in the North America region. So that's all of the programs in the United States, all the programs in Canada, and all the programs in the Caribbean. We had the largest number of participants, but also collectively, we logged more than 1 million minutes of exercise. That's pretty phenomenal. So we're already out in front on this, and I'm thrilled that so many of you today in the chat, athletes, volunteers, family members, are really lending your support behind this. So this is something that is resonating, which is great to see, and it's a really important part of what we do moving forward. So thank you for listening today. Thank you all for taking so much of your Saturday to be with us. If we were at the Penn State or in person right now, we'd all be taking a break and going back and getting ready for a social hour and dinner tonight. And it would be wonderful to be able to connect with all of you. So I'm disappointed that we won't have that opportunity, but I am grateful that you took your entire Saturday to be with us. Well, I'm seeing lots of good comments come in the chat, and I just want to wrap up with a thank you to all of our volunteers. You're the lifeblood of this organization, so we're here to support you. So thank you for all that you do and for being with us this weekend. And now we'll sign off and go enjoy the rest of your weekends. Thanks, everybody.